Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special weather forecast bulletin. As the weather map from the Atlantic Ocean to the North American continent is witnessing dramatic changes. I hope you are having a peaceful start, because in the next 48 hours, the world's weather will become extremely active. Super Typhoon Melissa continues its final journey across the North Atlantic, while the strongest cold air mass since early autumn is pouring down into the United States, ushering in a volatile start to November with thunderstorms, strong winds, early cold, and even the first snow in some areas. Today, we will go through that entire meteorological picture, from Melissa's final strength to the weather pattern across the U.S. and the signs that winter is arriving earlier than expected. According to the U.S. National Hurricane Center, NHC, as of 5 a.m., Hurricane Melissa remains strong, with sustained winds of around 105 MPH, 165 km/h, and a central pressure of 968 HPA. Although the storm structure has begun to fragment and the eye has become faint, the convective cloud mass remains extremely dense, covering the eastern Bahamas and heading straight toward Bermuda. Forecasts indicate that tonight, Melissa will brush the western side of Bermuda, bringing heavy rain and fierce gusts. The Bermuda Weather Service has upgraded its alert from a hurricane watch to an emergency hurricane warning, urging residents to limit travel from this evening. Between 9 p.m. tonight and early tomorrow morning, the area could experience winds of 100, 120 km/h and ocean waves reaching 5 to 7 meters, causing coastal flooding and localized power outages. Fortunately, the storm is moving quickly at about 35 km/h, so the period of direct impact will only last about 6 to 8 hours. After passing Bermuda, Melissa will continue towards southeastern Newfoundland, Canada, transitioning into an extratropical cyclone by Saturday morning. Forecast models HWRF and HMON both show that the Avalon Peninsula region, including the city of St. John's, will face strong winds of 90-100 km/h and heavy rain of 50-80 meters. Canadian meteorologists warn residents to reinforce windows and secure boats, as this could be the windiest night since early autumn. What is noteworthy is that Melissa has had a very unusual journey. After weakening to 90 mph yesterday, the storm unexpectedly strengthened back above 100 mph overnight. This re-intensification phenomenon is rare and is believed to have occurred because the storm absorbed additional energy from the warm waters of the Gulf Stream. According to meteorologist Brian Shields, Melissa is a classic example of how late-season hurricanes can reawaken. Even after moving into colder waters, if there's still enough energy, they can continue to produce massive waves, strong winds, and impacts spanning hundreds of kilometers. The latest satellite images show that the storm's core has moved away from the Bahamas, though the islands of New Providence, Andros, and Eleuthera are still experiencing winds of 40 to 60 km/h and scattered showers. In Jamaica, where Melissa made landfall 2 days ago, Kingston authorities are compiling damage reports. Over 80% of households in the western part of the island lost power. Hundreds of homes had their roofs torn off, and many roads remain cut off due to landslides. Cuba also recorded storm surges exceeding 3 meters along the northern coast of Holguin province, flooding several coastal communities. It can be said that Melissa has nearly completed her path, from the Caribbean, across Cuba and the Bahamas, to Bermuda, and now toward the cold North Atlantic. By this weekend, as it moves farther north, the storm will be swept away by strong westerlies and gradually dissipate over the icy waters near Iceland, closing a long and powerful chapter. While the Atlantic remains active because of Melissa, the continental United States is also experiencing rapid weather changes. A cold air mass from Canada is pushing southward, clashing with lingering warm, moist air in the south, creating zones of extreme weather. Thunderstorms in some areas, strong winds in others, and even the first signs of winter elsewhere. Across the eastern and mid-Atlantic states, a massive low-pressure system is spinning over the Ohio Valley, bringing prolonged rain and thunderstorms from Virginia to Pennsylvania. North Carolina and southern New Jersey have been warned of the potential for weak tornadoes, accompanied by gusts of 60-70 km/h. In the northeastern states such as New York, Boston, and Maine, cold rain continues throughout the day, with temperatures hovering around 8 to 12 degrees. The Adirondacks and the Appalachian Mountains, above 2,500 meters, may see the first wet snowflakes, a clear sign that winter is truly near. In the Midwest, weather remains highly variable. In Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana, temperature differences between day and night are large, morning lows of 3-6 degrees and midday highs reaching up to 20 degrees. Some areas around Lake Superior have even reported small hail, and residents are advised to drive carefully in the early hours. Meanwhile, the southern and south-central United States are seeing completely different conditions. From Texas to Louisiana, skies are mostly sunny, dry, and mildly hot with highs of 29 to 32 degrees C. However, due to low humidity, the National Weather Service has issued fire weather warnings for southern Texas and New Mexico. Around the Oklahoma-Arkansas border, scattered showers may occur, though they are expected to be brief. The western U.S. is enjoying rather pleasant weather with clear skies across California, Nevada, and Arizona. Yet a new cold system from the Pacific Ocean is approaching Washington and Oregon, bringing the first significant rain event of November, considered the official start of the rainy season for the Pacific Northwest. According to this morning's weather warning map, the purple areas indicate frost and freeze advisories stretching from Minnesota and Wisconsin to northern Michigan. Red zones mark high wind warnings along the New Jersey coast. Yellow zones show fire weather alerts in Texas and New Mexico, and dark green areas highlight dangerous thunderstorm warnings in North Carolina and Virginia. In the coming days, the cold air from Canada will continue to expand southward, bringing the first true chills of the season. Mid-level pressure maps show a deep trough forming over the eastern U.S., pulling frigid air from Nunavut, Canada, all the way down into the Tennessee Valley. This is considered the strongest cold outbreak since April and the first signal of a weak La Niña cycle beginning to reemerge. The first cold wave, from November 2nd to 4, will bring early frost to the Dakotas, Iowa, Missouri, Kentucky, and Ohio. Nighttime lows could drop to between 2 and 2 degrees, with frost and morning ice forming across farmlands. The second wave, from November 6 to 8, will spread into Tennessee, Alabama, and northern Georgia, with some locations dipping below Degald. Mountain states such as West Virginia and Pennsylvania are likely to see their first snow of the season, light in accumulation, but a clear indication that winter 2025-2026 is arriving early. Conversely, the western half of the United States remains warmer than average by 4 to 6 degrees, sunny and dry. This is the result of a persistent high-pressure ridge preventing cold air from spilling westward. This cold east-warm west pattern is a classic signature of a neutral ENSO phase leaning toward La Niña, seen during several of America's harshest winters. Long-range climate models from both Europe and the U.S. agree that this November will average 1.5 to 2.5 degrees below normal across much of the eastern states. There is a high likelihood that 2 to 3 mid-scale winter storm systems will develop during the first half of the month, centered around the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and New England. In the south, from Texas to Florida, conditions will remain mostly dry with little rainfall, though a few sudden cold snaps with frost may occur. Experts also note that the 2025-2026 winter bears many similarities to the 2013-2014 season. A winter remembered for intense winds, East Coast snowstorms, and polar vortex outbreaks reaching the deep south. If this scenario repeats, the U.S. could face a severe winter, especially between December and February. Melissa, though never making landfall in the United States, stands as a powerful reminder of nature's might. From a small disturbance in the Caribbean, in just 5 days it became a Category 5 super hurricane, devastating Jamaica, Cuba, and impacting even Canada. Melissa's story underscores a troubling reality. Hurricanes are now forming later, growing stronger, traveling farther, and lasting longer than before. Statistics show that 2025 has already seen more than 10 major hurricanes, Category 3 or higher, above the long-term average. Scientists attribute this to rising sea surface temperatures. With just a 1° increase, the energy available to a hurricane can rise by nearly 7%. Therefore, even as hurricane season nears its end, the Atlantic and Caribbean remain far from calm. Before closing today's bulletin, let us share a verse from Psalm 73:26. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Nature can be fierce, but amid the ruins there are still hands holding each other, faith and compassion that never fade. We cannot stop the storms, but we can preserve peace in our hearts, guided by faith and kindness. We send our prayers to the people of Jamaica, Cuba, the Bahamas, and Canada, those now rebuilding their lives after the storm. May they recover soon, and may we all, wherever we are, find peace and safety. Thank you for watching today's weather report. If you found it helpful, please don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the latest meteorological updates. We will return in the next bulletin with information on the strong early November cold air outbreak, the potential for early winter storms, and the outlook for La Niña this season. Wishing you all a wonderful day. God bless you all. May the Lord bless every one of us.